Hello.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Social Distancing Show, where we save lives every week.
And I watched entirely too many TikToks, and I just had to finish one up right now because it was pissing me off so bad.
You know, it was so funny. I remember I was talking to someone, Aaron, and we had brought up the topic, or someone had brought up the topic of polyamory on here, right? And Sandy just she went from 0 to super angry, and we were like, "What happened?" And
it wasn't anger. It's just not for me.
No. She was looking at her husband and was like, "You better not ever think about it. I'm telling you right
now."
now."
If you ever, I'm sorry. Hold on. It's not for us. When I make that decision for us, it's not for us.
And so, yeah. So, but when you say, Sandy, you were getting angry and you had to finish the TikTok, like I think.
So let me tell you what happened. Okay,
tell us.
So there's a couple, and they're sitting around at their house with his brother and his new girlfriend. The new girlfriend happens to have 3 kids. The 2 younger ones, good kids, but the other one is the spawn of Satan. So they're sitting there trying to have a conversation, drinking their coffee. And this little girl, which reminded me, is over here swatting at flies that are non-existent and keeps knocking their coffee over. Oh my. Look, Jamie. It did confetti.
Oh, yeah.
No, it did confetti just now.
Oh, it did. I missed it. I was over here.
You missed it.
Burping.
Anyway, okay. So sorry, squirrel. So she, what was I? So anyway, this little girl keeps swatting, knocking over their coffee, has knocked it over like 3 times. And the mother does absolutely nothing. And then she says, "Go off and play," but doesn't even follow up because the kid sits there. She comes back and she smacks the sister-in-law upside the forehead and says, "Bug, I missed him," with the fly swatter.
No way.
Oh my gosh, no.
Yes. And the mom says nothing. So she gets pissed and she drinks cold coffee. Well, she grabs her cold coffee and just throws it on the kid. And the kid starts crying. And so now all of a sudden it's like she's the bad guy. And I'm like, no, F you and F your kid and get the hell out of my house and never come back around. I mean, they went so far as to call her the C word. And I reserve that for special people. I don't ever use the C word. I use a lot of words, but not that one.
Yes. I've only seen Sandy use that word once in our entire friendship.
I know, and that's over 20 years.
Yes.
I reserve it for special people.
She do.
Anyway, so is she the apple?
No swatting flies.
No what?
He said no swatting flies.
Just no swatting flies.
Oh yeah, no.
That's what I learned from this. Yeah, just don't swat flies.
Yeah, stay away from them. What? You said something that brought something up for me too.
A fly swatter? Because I was swatting a fly in here earlier.
No, it wasn't that. I don't know why, but something in your story. So, Aaron, I was at Buffalo Wild Wings last night, okay? And it's the one, not the one by campus, by the one over by the airport, right? And
sure, yeah.
Sandy, I got there after 9 o'clock. It was late. I had a rough day yesterday. And
so you went to belly up to the wings?
There was so much going on yesterday. But at one point, let me just say, we were I had to have a tow person come out and pick up my wife's car. Okay.
Hi, Joanne.
And we've been using the electric car often. And so this guy came out and it took hours. My wife, her car got stuck over by Wesleyan. Aaron knows where that's at. So, but the guy came out finally. And at one point he's asking me questions about the car and he's like, "What's going on with it?" And I was like, "The brakes don't work." You know, my wife tried to stop and they wouldn't stop. I was like, she got it to, she got it here. And so, yeah. And he was like, "Did you check it?" And I was like, I think my wife knows how to drive, man. If she says the brakes don't work, the brakes don't work.
So yes, let me endanger myself to verify that the brakes aren't working.
Yeah. I was like, okay, fine. So then, so he's just asking these questions, right? And then at one point he kind of just stops. and he's just staring at me. I'm not sitting in my car and I'm not out of the car. I've got literally 1 foot in the car and 1 foot out, and I'm doing that weird lean, when you're kind of going between the door and the car, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. And he goes, what? And I was like, are you okay? And he was like, I smoke. And I was like, huh? And he goes, well, you were looking at me and I was looking at you. And I just went, what? It was so bizarre, y'all.
What is happening?
What was this? Oh my gosh.
I don't know. It was so weird. I was like, you were totally talking. Were you done? Because if you were done, I didn't know. And you were just standing there.
I would have said, yes, I can tell you smoke crack. Yes, go ahead.
Oh my God. It was so bizarre, guys. So anyway, that helped. Part of that helped lead up to going to Buffalo Wild Wings. And let me tell you, they closed all the restaurant and you can only sit at the bar. The tables were all high, and I felt like a freaking 5-year-old. I dropped nearly everything. I was the only one at the table. There was no one else in the restaurant.
And you were the only sober one. I can guarantee you that.
Yes, no drinks.
And you're the one making the whole mess.
I made a mess, guys, everywhere. I threw ranch on the floor. I don't mean like I spilled my water. Like I didn't see the water there. And when I was putting the ketchup back where it goes, I just went boom, and the water just went like everywhere.
Did you tell them I'm legally blind? Sean said, fix the car, man.
I was just like, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I was like, I just should not. I don't like. I didn't know what to say. Yes, it was so bad, guys. So I was just like,
that is a very strange interaction. And I'm queen of awkward. I don't think I've ever had an awkward situation like that.
All, yeah, it was just all weird. Anyway, Aaron, how was your day? How's your week been? Any fun stories to share?
Fun stories. Oh man.
Or any strange interactions.
Been busy. Strange. I have every interaction strange for me.
I was gonna say, I feel like you have a lot of good strange ones, maybe.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I do work at Chili's. I serve there, so that is in a shift.
Oh, so you dealt with
a wide variety of
Jamie.
I have.
That's how we met. We will tell you the story here in a little bit.
It is, yes.
That is where we met.
Interesting. Old Smoky, is that the moonshine from Tennessee?
It is, yes.
Nice.
It's just like a rustic sign that, yeah, it was just like has to be in the office. 100%.
I love it. I need that.
Is that where you're at right now? Are you in your office?
This is, yeah, the whiteboards do make it. This is the office,
I like that, man. That's impressive.
Yeah, so.
When you got whiteboards in your office, I used to have whiteboards in my office. They're the jam.
Look out for
Have
Jamie.
to. Yeah. Have to.
Yeah. So let me tell you what kind of happened, and Aaron, fill in gaps for me. So I have been to Chili's a number of times. I had the pleasure of Aaron serving my table once or twice. And he's a bright young man, nice fella, great server. And so this last time, my daughters and we went there. Aaron stopped by our table and said hello. And I was like, hey, what's going on, man? I was like, good to see you, just making chit chat. You all know when you find a server or two at a restaurant, you try to keep those relationships well because you want to go back and sit in their sections because you get taken care of, right? I'm not even talking like the extra. I'm just saying just regular if you can get taken care of. So that's what Aaron is. And I don't remember how I asked you, but at some point he mentions to me that
you asked me if I went to school, and then we were just kind of talking and it kind of expanded from there.
Did you say, are you an educated fool with money on your mind?
Money on his mind. And so, he tells me some of his story. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. You're about to graduate or whatever else. But then something in the conversation, he says he's a realtor. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I was like, how did you get into realty when you're going to school to study? What was it? I forget what you're studying.
Accounting.
I was like, I get it. They're kind of close, but what happened there? So then he just tells me something crazy. He says, oh, I just decided to during that weird thing that happened a couple years ago, I decided to go ahead and just go and try out for my realtor license and stuff, and I got it.
See, people did like good, productive shit.
They really bettered themselves, right?
Some of us attempted
It was nice. It was
TikToks and failed TikToks. I don't think
was
I
that
did
you,
one
Sandy?
productive thing, Aaron. Yeah, Aaron, I did nothing.
We made a show.
We did a show. I mean, but that's really about it.
You did.
I've always
love it.
thought that like,
Thank you.
man, I just don't have enough time to do laundry. No, I have plenty of time. I just didn't want to do it, even through that period of time in our life.
Yeah.
It's not the timing thing. No, that's not it.
No.
I've had a lot of time on my hands.
Lots, copious amounts of it. But there was just something different for other people.
Yeah, y'all were motivated.
Y'all were really motivated. So anyway, yeah.
I was motivated to drink, Aaron. That's what I was.
What do you drink? So that yeah.
Teach their own.
That's when you were on your White Claw movement.
I made some really good, healthy White Claws. Oh, so good. They were mainly fruit based, and so you're getting all your vitamins.
Yeah. So everyone, the heart, we shine the spotlight on folks. And I was like, Aaron, that's such an intriguing story. I have to have you onto my show, man. I was like, you have to come on and tell us all your story. And so I hope you're ready to practice your storytelling skills, because now it's time for you to talk a lot and tell us your intro into getting into realty, man.
Aaron, I have a couple of questions already. How old are you?
Yeah. Sure. So I'm 21, and I'm a senior at ISU in college. So that's my last year.
Make me feel bad at all.
Gosh, little babe. So you're
21 now.
And you're a realtor, already licensed realtor. You're going to school for accounting, and you graduate this coming summer or fall, or
in May.
In May. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, go ahead and get started. And I'm sorry, I'm an interrupting cow, and I'll try my best to not interrupt you.
No, you guys are all good at it. I love it.
Yeah. So tell us.
Yeah. So during, it was always like a crazy time during COVID. Right when we got to college, my roommate I went to high school with. So we kind of knew of each other. We were like okay friends, but never really, hung out together.
Mm-hmm.
But we were just kind of set on, hey, let's just make a business, let's just put it online. Let's just start, having money come in. We just need to find out what that business is going to be. In the past, I've had a couple like business spurts, I guess. I think when I was like 14 or something, we traded like wild onions for chickens and then sold the eggs as like a little side hustle.
Front door.
So awesome. Yeah, so we did that with like a restaurant in town, and that was like something that I thought was really cool, just kind of making money on your own.
Real quick,
so we tried.
Is there a big difference between a wild onion and like? I would just imagine you found them somewhere, but is that all, or is there more to it?
Is it like the truffles where you have to have a dog that sniffs them out?
Good question.
Not necessarily. I don't think. I think they just like grow in timber, like under like trees, and you just like go out and hunt them. I don't know the taste difference. I've never had one. These people were interested in them, so they had chickens, we had onions, and it just kind of worked out. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, it's cool. It really is cool. Okay. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah.
Wait, Aaron, tell me a little bit about your background. Your parents, you have siblings. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So I have one older brother. He's 4 years older. Didn't really do like a traditional route, through college. Just kind of out of high school. Has been interested in cars. So he's kind of starting his own little like car business. And then my dad, he started his business selling traffic signs. Not to go like too far into that, but basically him and his brother just one day fell on it and just started kind of selling them online, and it has worked out.
Wait, let me interrupt you. So
country,
did he steal signs and then sell them, or did he purchase them somewhere?
No, it was so he used to trade stocks, and would just be totally on the market all day. And then his brother, who worked for the state, putting up signs, got laid off. And then he came to him and he's like, well, I don't know what to do. All I know how to do is, work with signs. So he's like, well, I know kind of some things about online. If you make one, I can just put it online and see what happens. And someone bought it, and then another person bought it, and then they ended up just kind of making a business out of it.
So cool.
Yeah, so kind of weird, but yeah, my mom works at Country, and then other than that, I just this.
In which area do you like? Is she in IT by any chance? I'm really just curious if she's in IT.
She's not in IT.
Okay.
That's one of those things I'm not sure exactly. I just know she works there.
Everyone, we have headquartered businesses here in our town, right? And Country is one of them, and it's one of those where there's so many different departments in these headquarters. Like when you think insurance, well, Sandy's an insurance. She owns her own insurance company, for example, and so a lot of us, we think of just the insurance person. Like Sandy, you're the face of the insurance company, but all the people and tools behind the scenes, that work all the intricacies for everything. Like there's huge buildings for those and people who do lots and lots of different things. And so, yeah, when someone says you work at State Farm or you work at Country here in town, you either are going to go down a rabbit hole trying to figure out where they work, or you're kind of like, I don't care because I don't know.
There's so many departments.
Yes. So, yeah. Anyhow, go ahead.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess, she more traditional job, I guess. But yeah, growing up, I played a bunch of sports. High school, I really got into football, and I was like, you know what this town needs? Something where people can kind of prepare for college, and play sports in college. Maybe somewhere like where people that can't really afford to go to these places that charge $500 a month to practice, they can go to this gym and have private coaches to help them out. So I started out in college as exercise science. That was my major, and I had the goal of opening a gym that was an affordable place high school players could come and work out and kind of learn fundamentals. So then we were trying to find these businesses freshman year. We thought like our first one was it was called Lavish Luminescence, and it was during the LED kick. Everybody had LEDs in their room, so we're like, well, let's start selling them online. And we got the shop up online, and then right after we built it, we just kind of took it down. We're like, all right, maybe we don't really have a passion for that. That's not really something, it's the logistics of shipping. It took like 3 weeks for it to come in, and we're like, Walmart has us kind of beat there. So,
but you were getting sales.
So we kind of took that down. Right? We were getting views. Just no one. Yeah. After like a day, we got a few views, and we were just like, I don't have any confidence in it. It took some money to like per month. I think it was like $15 a month, but we didn't want to invest in it. So we're just, it was a shortfall.
Very short-lived. Okay.
But after that, short-lived. Yeah. I was just kind of on YouTube looking up these investments, mainly just economics, like things about the market. And I fell upon this guy called Graham Stephan. And he's a realtor who invests in real estate. And, he also has general knowledge about the market. That's kind of how I found him. And I just kept watching these videos. I mean, just every day for like 2 weeks, for just hours on end about these like real estate investments of buying properties and renting them out, and the cash flow involved and kind of leveraging your money. And I was like, man, that's like that's cool. Like I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
So after a few weeks of watching these videos, I was like, well, how can I do that someday? And I'm like, well, I need an investment property. So I'm like, I don't know anything about property. So let's try to find out a little. So I was researching, and you don't need a realtor, but there's a realtor on a buy end, and there's realtors on sell end, and they kind of walk you through the transaction. I'm like, oh, well, that's an obvious for someone like me who's I don't know what I'm doing. So I went and saw a couple of houses and was talking to realtors, and it was kind of over my head, everything they were saying, mainly about like the life of a roof I've never even thought of. I don't know if that's just something that I grew up not knowing about, but things that break in houses, had no idea. But as I was researching it, what I really found out was I actually have like a passion for this. I actually like really enjoy learning. It doesn't feel like learning. It feels like just kind of exploring. So it was like 2 a.m. one night after watching a video, and I'm like, let's look online for like how to become a realtor. So I found this course. It was like $500. It was online, and I was literally 2 a.m. I'm like, all right, let's do it. If I pay the money, that's going to make me do the course, and I just have to get back my investment at that point. So yeah, I paid it, and then just they send you a book that's like this thick, and they say, hey, you have 6 tests. You take those tests, then after that, you're going to go take the state test, and then after that, you'll get your license. And
yeah, that
I was
already
just kind of working
sounds
through
like
reading.
a lot. Like the minute you say tests.
Well, and the thing too is, you pay your thing up front, and you know that you're going to get your money's worth. I paid my gym membership for a year, and I never went, so that didn't work out for me. I wish.
Yeah,
I wish I had your motivation.
We paid for the gym membership
the
and
money
go
up
swimming,
front.
but never work out. So
it's my fat tax, is what I called it. It's my fat tax. That's what it is.
Oh my gosh, I've never heard someone refer to it as that.
So okay, hold on real quick, because this is already like a lot. Like it makes sense why you're on our show now, right? Because when we don't kid, like it always seems like the people who come across our show, they're just
smarter, cuter,
faster, stronger,
motivated,
like doers. They do things. They don't just talk about it. They don't just think about it. They don't just dream about it. It's like they do.
They're movers and shakers that we need in this world.
You're 21, and at 21, you've already had a couple of fun businesses under your belt. You gained wisdom through it. You started school, and then in the middle of that, you also thought, let me buy some real estate. But in the middle of that, you're like, let me see about becoming a realtor. And then you threw money at it, which I'm sure at the time, well, maybe you did have as many business ideas as you had. I'm sure that you have some little bit of money socked away somewhere from those things. But
Aaron comes off as a very saver. Aaron saves his money.
Yes.
Right, Aaron?
I wish I was like you, Aaron.
I've been working
My wife
since
would appreciate that.
I've been working since I've been 16. And at the time, during my freshman year of college, I was going to school full time, of course, just online. But I was working 60 hours a week, 30 at one restaurant and then 30 at a different restaurant. And then would do school, usually between like 12 and 2 a.m. or so.
Oh,
and then
work would usually
start around 7.
My brain's on all cylinders at 2 a.m. I'll be honest. So I'm with you on that part. But
we did not sleep much freshman year, though.
I don't think many freshmen or sophomores sleep a lot. You know, it's funny though. Fair. When I look at you and I hear you say you were working 60 hours a week since you were 16 and yada yada, I'm thinking, I got you beat. I know Sandy's got you beat. I know we've been working since
I was 8. And I was working in the fields.
Yes. And it's just amazing how when you work at 16 and when I worked when I was 16, the disparity between what I have to show for it is very appalling. So I'm
so kudos to you, Aaron.
Yes, keep it up, Aaron. Okay. Okay, so then you went online. And this guy, was he just like motivate? Would you say he was like the motivational YouTuber, or was he just kind of documenting what his day in his life kind of thing? And you were just like, I want to do that. Is that kind of?
Yeah, it's interesting. He kind of just every like week has this just market analysis. He's talking about not like individual stocks, but he's like interest rates go to here, so we're seeing less people buying this commodity, and just talking about movement of just all economics. And then on the side, he would talk about how he would just work at a restaurant and save, and then bought this one house, and then was able to take the equity from there and then buy another, and then he got to like 5 houses and was able to just live off of that income. And it was just kind of inspiring. He's not really telling you to go do it, but it's just like the story is just like, oh wow, like that's possible,
And so it wasn't, would you say like it was the houses that really kind of turned you on to it, or was it just the idea of like
extra income?
Like the income that he was bringing in? Was that what kind of got you?
Yeah, so it was kind of a mix of both. I love the idea of having extra income where it's passive. Everybody says passive income, like, but put quotes around it. Of course, it's not passive. You got to work for it a little bit. But that idea was great, and I'm like, not only because I guess I've been from like a finance point of view, right? So not only are you getting the return on investment from rents being paid, but also real estate appreciates over time. So that's something that people don't really think about. So I was like, well, if I just kept buying houses, and then once I'm ready to retire, I can either sell all these houses that are hopefully worth more and then retire, or maybe that's something that's generating enough where I can just pass it down generationally. I don't,
So
don't really know.
Aaron, a lot. So I deal in the insurance realm. I deal with people like you that buy tons of properties and are making tons of money on there, and some of them self-insure,
Sure.
and I only have like their liability part of it. So my question to you is, are you also a handyman to where you can go in there and make repairs yourself, or do you contract that out to others?
Like what do they call the property management systems, right?
Yes.
So currently I don't have any properties. This is just something that
Gotcha.
I've just been super passionate about. But no, my grandpa, who's a huge influence in my life, he was a carpenter. And every summer we would build something. So whether it was, the chicken house was that one summer. But one summer was like a huge tree house. One was just like a boat. We just like gutted it and then redid it and then ran the wires and whatnot. But that has had a lot of experience doing that kind of carpentry stuff. So yeah, I think it'd be kind of a mix of both.
So are you going to do like house flipping, or are you just going to do like housekeeping? Like keep the houses. Housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
Personally, I like just housekeeping. Yes. Yeah. No, I do like the idea of renting them out. But being in a position of now, I don't know, a realtor, I guess, just to kind of go through it for people who don't know, have access to an MLS, which is basically this huge database of, it shows you properties on the market.
It got hacked.
There's also,
sorry,
there was definitely a lot of news been coming out lately. From
and I was going to ask
National
you about
Association of Realtors and Mira.
Yes, they just lost a lawsuit, a huge lawsuit.
Who lost?
Did you know about it?
Yeah.
The National Association of Realtors.
Why? What happened?
I don't know the details. I was going to ask Aaron if he knew, but I forgot about it until y'all both started talking about it. And I remember check this out. I was looking to find the hashtags that would help get this episode noticed, right? Because I wanted to make sure it was centered around real estate or realtors. And so when I did that, I went online, but I had to look for an example first. So I went on to YouTube and I searched realtors or hashtag realtor real estate, something like that. And then I saw a bunch of recent videos, like within the last 4 days, that were like the NAR, or National Association of Realtors, lost its lawsuit against, I don't know if it was the realtors or just regular folks or whatever, but they lost a huge, it was an enormous amount, exorbitant amount of money they lost. So,
but who sued him? I'm
Yes.
so confused.
So
I don't know. Aaron, do you know?
I know very base level of it. We talk about it a lot at our company meetings, and from my understanding, it's not realtors. It's the people, the old clients, or people selling their houses,
Oh.
just normal people, are suing because of commissions, and they kind of are saying that it's like kind of a monopoly in a sense for realtors to charge a commission. I don't know exactly what their side's saying. From what I understand, when you're representing a buyer, it can get very weird on how you explain how you get paid. And not a lot of people know, how a realtor gets paid. And I think there's some misconceptions that create where people, without even diving into it, they get told one thing and they just jump on one side and they're like, oh, I hate realtors now.
I've always believed it was, the commission off of a sale of the property. So based on, it's a percentage based on.
Here it's 3%.
I don't know what is
it in Illinois? It's based on the purchase price of the house, right?
Yeah, but what I'm
so
saying
is
like,
it's a commission based on purchase price. 3% is not something that I mean, people say 3%, and it's always negotiable. It's never a flat fee. It's just when people think it's a flat fee of 3% is when it starts getting controversial. So when you sell a house, I mean, one realtor might charge, the selling realtor will charge 6%, and 3 goes to the buying agent, and 3 goes to the selling agent, and where was I going with that? Well, kind of going down a rabbit hole, but so the buying agent, it goes through the seller
to go down that rabbit hole.
So if I want to buy a house, and let's say I take out a loan and I put all the money in my bank towards the house, let's say 20%. You don't actually need 20%, but let's say 20%. Now I have this realtor who's helping me buy a house, and the house is on the MLS, on the database, and I have signed a contract with him saying, hey, I understand that you're working for X amount of commission, and for you to help me find a house, I'm going to pay, or I'm going to make sure you get paid that. And it's either going to come from the seller, and if it does not come from the seller, it will come from me. Now, if I just put all the money in my bank account towards this house, I cannot afford to pay anything out of my bank account to my realtor. So what this commission allows us to do, if it's through the seller, is now it is a part of my 30-year mortgage.
Through the loan, yes.
And now I can afford that house. And the question of whether I would have found that house if that realtor was with me or not, that's one thing. But I mean, I think especially in today's market, obviously I advocate for a realtor. I put in probably about 4 offers in the last month, and there's been probably about 7 offers on every house we put an offer in. I mean, it's competitive.
Yeah.
So you really gotta be competitive
ready.
back.
You gotta be ready. It's a buyer's market. No.
Seller's market.
Yes. It's a seller's market, meaning the seller is having lots of options. They don't have to accept just what their houses are worth anymore. They are able to get some high percentages over what their houses are worth.
That has stopped here. Like it was a seller's market 2 years ago when we bought our house, because we were because we were going to build, because we were building. So Aaron, we bought a temporary house and we had to bid on the house, and they had to accept our bid. They only accepted so many, and then we overshot it, and so ours got accepted. Anyway, complete shit show, Aaron. I mean, it was awful. Like we looked at 3 houses that day, and it was like a marathon, and you're standing in line, something like I'd never seen before. You're standing in line, and then like it's like next, and then you have a realtor that's standing waiting for you, and she has a client on FaceTime, and that's how this client is looking at the house, is through their phone. And it was just unreal. But So we finally built our house. We finally closed. You know what upset me so much that I learned? So we, of course, interest rates are astronomical. If I could have built in the wrong, I mean, I did everything at the wrong time, and so of course we had to buy down our interest rate. So we're like at a 7%. So one of my friends who's a realtor said, yeah, he said, there's people that are currently getting like 5.98, and I said, how the hell is that possible? So he clued me in and said that it's one of those for the underserved areas. So basically, those people that have crap credit, no, it's for the crap credit people. They get a 5.98, and the ones that have good credit, excellent credit, we're getting penalized to subsidize that. And that is upsetting to me because I've worked my entire life to keep my credit in good standing. And now people are getting a better interest rate than me that have horrible credit. Upset, disgusts me. So anyway, there's my rant. I don't know where I went.
That's how you really feel,
Interesting.
Sandy.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Thank you. Yeah, so I hear what you're saying. Not the controversial side of it, Sandy, but I think generally across the country, it still is a seller's market. I don't know, again, exactly how it is in Lubbock, but I will say that across the country, the sellers are the one who are still, it may not be as high as it was 2 years ago, but they are still the one who's more in the demanding seat.
So like now that they are offering like help with closing costs, now they are buying the home warranties and stuff like that. Because when we bought, like you basically bought that mother trucker as is, they didn't offer you anything, no carpet allowance, nothing.
See, and that's so weird because we bought our new home a couple of years, 2-3 years ago now, right? Aaron, we live over here in Ironwood. And when we got this house, we had the home warranty, and we got a pretty gnarly interest rate, and closing costs have always been able to be worked. We've always found a way to work the closing costs into the loan at the end. So I hear what you're saying. In all 3 houses that we've bought in our life, though, those 3 scenarios have always been able to play out well for us.
Yeah, I think our very first house that we bought, I think it was like a $5,000 closing cost because we typically bought everything through the VA, except for this one house that we did a conventional on that one just because we didn't want to tie up our funds for the house that we were building because we knew eventually the VA was going to do the financing on it.
Yeah.
So, and you only have like so much money that you can use. And so if we just, since we ended up keeping that house, you couldn't anyway. So we ended up actually paying our closing costs on top of overbidding on the house, if that makes sense. Yes. So like our closing costs would have been 10,000, but then we overbid on the house another 7. So our total closing cost was 17,000.
So are you seeing it, Aaron, that people are still overbidding for homes here where we live?
Yeah,
and then also just kind of over the cross country kind of thing?
It's hard to I don't know. I feel like it's kind of 2 worlds out there because there's the real estate world and there's the accounting world, and you're kind of comparing the 2. It all depends on price range. It depends on neighborhood. It's very hyper local is what they kind of call it. Where maybe where you're at in Ironwood, maybe that's going to be something that is people are just throwing money at, but maybe over in Tipton, they're sitting on the market. Right now, I think between the price range of 150,000 to probably about 250,000, the kind of the first time home buyer range, which it's kind of crazy saying $250,000 is the first time home buyer.
Yeah,
but yeah,
ours was like 100,000.
That range,
first time buyers.
Yeah, normal. Yeah, that range is really hot right now. I'm still seeing. Am I seeing things go over asking? Yes. Does that mean that they're overpaying, or does that mean that the property was underlisted and the market is just saying that the appropriate price for that house is what it's sold for?
That's always funny though, right? The market is one thing, but to be honest with you, I've always been a believer of the people make the market, not the market, right?
Exactly.
And so if the person or persons are willing to pay X amount for anything that's in the market. They've just set what that new market value is. And now,
Exactly.
for those of us that weren't willing to pay that high or low, however way you want to look at it, the market really belongs to the buyers. And so they're the ones that
Exactly.
get to set that demand. Like it's really just simple demand, supply and demand. Like there's always what they were hoping to sell it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just an example. There was this one house. It was kind of off of Rab Road. If you know where that Walgreens is.
Oh yeah.
It was down the street from there, and I had a client that was interested, and I want to say it was listed right around 150,000, which it puts it right in that prime market. I did a comparative market analysis on it. Basically, you look at the houses similar to that around that neighborhood, and you say, oh, what have they sold for? And the market analysis was saying 180, 175 to probably 185, that range. And I told my buyer before we saw it, I said, hey, I know it's listed at this price, but it is not going to go for this price. It's going to end up being in the 180s. So if we would have put an offer of 180, which we didn't do, but if we would have put that offer down, would that be us overpaying by 30,000, or is that just us adjusting to the market? And what sucks is now, exactly. And now that realtor is able to brag and say, hey, I just sold a house for $30,000 over asking. Well,
technically it's true.
$30,000 under asking. I mean, yeah, it's true, but
on paper, but it doesn't tell the story. Yeah. But the hard part with that is you can't tell. You don't really know what's undervalued until the people who are willing to bid on it start bidding, right? Like you look at the house. I always think Silicon Valley guys, like those people. They're like, how much is it? 100,000? Well, I'll give you, $60,000 cash on top of that if you sell it to me. And it was like, what? And so, again, the market is, like you said, what it's valued at, but what the market or the people are willing to pay for it. They can.
Are y'all getting a lot of influx of Californians?
That's a good question. I don't think so. Are y'all?
We are.
I'm not sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Texas is when you think about California, and it's so weird because California and Texas are so polar opposites. But Texas has a lot of land mass, just like California does. And Texas does have some good tax breaks and deals. And $100,000 in California is nothing versus 100,000 in Texas
which is what's driving our housing market is the Californians coming in. So 2-3 years ago, you could insure a house for 125, and then on the higher end, like 150 a square foot. Now you're seeing 185 a square foot to 200 plus a square foot. And that's a lot for our area. And so, they're seeing we're seeing several investors buy properties here to have rental properties and stuff like that. Still live in California, but they're investing in rental properties here.
Yeah. I don't know that I've seen that. What I have seen, and Aaron, you can either corroborate or contradict it, is, like I said, Sandy, we've got a lot of large headquartered places here in our backyard, right? And we've got State Farm, we've got Country Financial, we've got Bridgestone Firestone, we've got Ferrero Rocher. I can never say Ferrero by itself. I always have to say Ferrero Rocher. Yes. And then Rivian, the electric vehicle company, right? With all these headquartered places here, I have seen an uptick in especially Rivian buying out a lot of properties around the area. And when I say a lot, that can be subjective, right? But I've seen them buying up properties around here with the intent to either put homes or apartments or buildings so that they can house their people when they come to visit or as they're ramping up production of their vehicles.
Let me read this comment real quick before we get too far along. Joanne says, Sandy, we closed in 84 at 13.5%. That was how high the interest rates were then. And then in the beginning of 85, I refinanced at 9.5% and thought that was good. That is so crazy, Joanne.
Reaganomics. That was in the middle. That was Reaganomics. Oh my God.
And what was the purchase price of your house, if you don't mind sharing that? Hey Priscilla, how are you? Back in '84, because your house was brand new built. If I
she's
remember
got
correctly.
a nice sized home. If it's still the
Yeah,
same
she
home I'm
does.
thinking of, and it has served you well, John. She raised her children in that home. Her grandchildren, or not raised her grandchildren, plays with the grandchildren in that home. Lots of parties and everything else, and it is one that her husband has added on to through the years also. And I think they even bought the house that used to be next to them, tore it down, and just so that they'd have space around their home. So
smart.
That is crazy though. 13.5% in 1984.
Listen, if I would have had to do that with this house, I'd have shat my pants. Not even kidding. There's no
I remember
way.
once when we almost got to 10%, and I was like, "What?" They were like, "No." And then, so I want to say like we have been able to hover between 4 to 5% in all the homes that we've bought.
I think we've always been like at 3 everywhere we went. It's so crazy. Look, Sean's trying to say, Sandy, drink up.
Because he sees you. He sees you with your cup.
Oh, this is just sparkling water. Don't worry.
Man.
Anyway, back to you, Aaron.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking, I was like, do I continue the conversation, or let me go ahead and move back to Aaron and put the spotlight back on you? So, sorry. Yes.
Oh man, where were we?
So
I took the test. Took tests.
7 tests.
Yeah, there's like 6 tests and then a big state test. And right before I took the state test, that's like the final hurdle. Once you get through that, you sign with the brokerage, and then boom, you're in.
Can you say
I was serving at Chili's. Yeah, of course. So, well, here, I'll get into that. So I was working at Chili's, and there's this girl I know from high school, and she's with her mom, and or I knew her from like junior high, like years ago. And I was just like, talking, just having a conversation, what do you guys do? Blah, blah, blah. And, they asked me, and I said, oh, well, I work here and go to school, but also I just am finishing up my real estate broker's exam. And she says, no way. I own my own brokerage, and you're going to come work for me.
What?
And I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah. So I was like, oh, well, that answers that. I had no idea what I wanted to do with the license. I just knew I wanted to invest in real estate. I didn't even think about becoming an agent or a broker, whatever you want to call it.
Well, because somebody has to hold your license, right?
Yeah. So you got to have someone hold the license.
What do you mean?
And
what does that mean? I'm sorry.
So there's a broker, and then there's a managing broker. And a managing broker is basically your trainer, advisor. You're on your own business. There is no pay from them at all, but they have to have your license at their location. For example, like Remax, Berkshire, whatever it is.
Okay. That's odd, but I guess there's a reason for it in the industry. So. Okay.
So it was my first one was Remax, one of the Remaxes in town, and I was on. It was the top team. Had most sales and most houses sold than any other team, as far as that's the word we got. I was on that for a year and a half, and then after that, now I went to Brilliant Real Estate, which used to be called Main Street Brokers. And it's not the main street in town. It is like Main Street America, like a small town USA. So it's more of a boutique brokerage. There's about 30 of us there compared to 90 of us at the other brokerage. And there's no team. It's just you are on your own now, and you do all of your own transactions, and it is all you. So that's been new to me pretty recently. I joined just a few months ago. So it's been kind of a nice change of pace. And then, yeah, other than that, we've had just been kind of going through school, and then, staying on real estate, staying engaged in the market. And then we got to 2 weeks ago, me and a couple of friends started another business. Have you ever seen like a fraternity or a sorority? where they have those paddles, those like Greek paddles.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So what they do around ISU is they decorate them. But yeah, they decorate them, and someone coming into the fraternity will have their name on it, and then they put them on their walls. Basically, just like a wall decor,
Yeah.
And we're like, well, man, we're a town with there's 3 colleges too that actually have fraternities and sororities. This could be like not a bad market to start selling paddles. So we're working on this group project for our business organization that we're a part of, and we dropped everything and we just went to Home Depot and spent $200 on a saw, and then it was like 100 more on like sandpaper and like a sanding tool. And we bought a bunch of these 8-foot boards, threw them in the back of the car, and just started cutting. And then we started contacting these, because then we had paddles, and then we're like, now what do we do with the paddles? We got to start selling them. So we started contacting fraternities on campus and saying, hey, if you order this many, we can get the price down to here, while also we can donate this much to charity, and then also take a profit on top of it. And it's been going smooth. Last week we were able to sell 30 of them, and then just today we sold another 20 of them. So we're slowly, we became profitable today.
Nice.
But we're trying to expand that outside of Bloomington now. But yeah, that was just the latest.
Champaign are just down the road. I mean,
weird.
So they say,
yeah,
like the wealthy, I don't know how it's worded, but they usually have 7 lines or 7 businesses, 7 irons in the fire, like, for you to have like all this income and stuff like that. So you're okay. So once you graduate from accounting, are you going to set up an accounting firm, and then you'll have your real estate license, and then you'll have your paddle business? Like what else? The sky's the limit.
Yeah, I mean, right now you have to be in real estate for 2 years in order to get your managing license.
Okay.
To become a managing broker and have your own firm.
Okay.
I've been just over 2 years now, so I'm now eligible to go back to school for that. But right now I'm planning on taking the CPA exam, basically like a certified accountant,
Right.
this summer. So I'm looking to get that license. I've signed on at a firm to do tax, because I was like, well, with real estate, you got to know taxes, which that's actually why I changed my major from exercise science to accounting. I don't think I ever looped back to that, but
that's right.
I figured taxes and real estate kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm signing on a tax firm, and I'm going to work there. They're going to pay for my CPA license. And then at some point I want to start a CPA / real estate firm, where it's like kind of a one-stop shop for a real estate investor. And that way, not only are you showing the houses and selling the houses, you're managing the houses, you're running the revenue expense sheets, you're doing the taxes for them. It's just all they have to do is sit back and collect the check.
Next thing, you'll just
that's what I'm thinking right now.
Start a property management company so that you can offer that to the renters, or the buyers who are buying them for renting it out.
I mean, you're just going to be basically a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
That's what I really enjoy. That's what I kind of see it going towards. So yeah, I think we've kind of picked a path, and now just execution phase.
So that's, if I were to be I don't even know what to call it. If I were gonna point out something for you to refute, it would, let me say, I work in the IT realm. Okay. And
sure.
For example, one of the things that I have noticed, I've spoken with a lot of people, I'll say many people, who have said that they have been basically a jack of all trades when it comes to some of the areas that they've worked in. And so I'm looking into a very niche market for cybersecurity right now, where I'm going to be taking care of that. And the people who I've met have been telling me, I was a jack of all trades and I could never break this certain salary cap. no matter what I did. He goes,
Mm-hmm.
and they would say, but I noticed that the people around me who were breaking them did it because they ended up becoming experts in a certain field. And so once they did that, well, that's their hope right now. So it's still in the window of them trying to figure it out, but they are looking at breaking that salary gap, becoming an expert in one specific field. Does that translate into your thing? Is there any challenges where you feel like if you've got too many hats you're juggling, is there potential for some pitfalls somewhere?
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's probably my biggest weakness. I'm very like, I call it like OCD. Just on a transaction that I do, like I have to touch all parts. Like I want to make sure everything gets done right. When I'm serving at Chili's, we have runners that grab food and grab drinks, but sometimes if they don't do it the way I want it to be done, or if my tables aren't being cleaned the way I want them to be cleaned, you know, sometimes my expectation doesn't align. So that's something where I feel like I have to do. But professionally, I think that's something where it's a weakness because you need to be able to delegate tasks and, put on more of a manager cap. And I think that'd be ideal for that business is where you start that property management and then you get someone to run that property management to where you're meeting with them once a week instead of going to unclog the toilets.
Yeah.
So that
Delegating
I think a management role would be better.
Is a key to success. I'm like you. I'm not a very good delegator. I want to be able to, I'm a control freak when it comes to certain things. Actually, a lot of my things. I just need to make sure that everything's going to be okay. That I don't want to let my people down.
Exactly.
So I end up doing more work probably than I should, just because I just can't let that part go.
Sure, exactly.
So let me read Joanne's comment. Joanne says, we built our house. My dad, Rudy, and brother, I designed the house. The interim loan was for 70 grand and I had to get another 10K to finish. I had to pay closing costs on both ends, then pay closing costs when I refinanced. I was making more money than Rudy. My dad was a builder in the 70s and into the late 80s. By the grace of God, my determination, I got this house built. My dad, of course, was great help since he was a builder. And also the lot was, but she ran out of space. So I don't know what it was.
The chat only puts in X amount. She wrote it all. Oh,
yeah.
Hold on.
Can you see it somewhere?
Yep. Well, where'd it go? Oh, here we go. It said, and I can't wait for Jaime to show his comic books off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I no doubt that she said that. I believe it.
My dad was, of course, a great help since he was a builder, and also the lot was a gift to us from my parents.
Oh, wow. See, that's good gifts right there. Like that's like stuff that you get.
Right.
Because
like screw the PlayStation. Give me a plot of land.
Yeah,
That's
give me
forever in my
land.
name.
Give me, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like legit. A kid will not understand the benefit of that type of gift until they become an adult. And then they'll be like, holy crap. Mom and dad really,
Yeah, set you up for sure.
They knew.
Yeah.
Parents, be better with your kids. Give them good shit.
And there's something you said. So like when it's so crazy because as I'm listening to your story, Aaron, and I think about how my wife talks a lot about generational wealth, right? And being able to leave something so that the kids can have, right? Like so that anytime there was a financial situation that came up, there was no reason for them to be like, I have to be stopped because of that. That they were able to be like, okay, yeah, but it's kind of like with the I had the auto mechanic people that told you about the car that had to go to the mechanics, right? So they took it to the mechanic, and the guy, my wife we were like, take a look at it. Brakes aren't working, and they were like, well, I think, whatever it was, he just was not really hearing it. And he was like, well, if we do this and that, it's going to cost more and it's going to cost more. And my wife was like, do whatever it takes. I don't care what it costs.
Is it going to
she was like,
fix it?
yes. You know, he's like, well, we're going to get up into this amount and that amount. And she was just like, my brakes don't work. Fix it, figure it out, whatever it costs. And so, you know, it's like that. But there's people where that can scare enough to be like, okay, we can't do it because we can't afford it. And so I think the smarts of that, like what it seems like you're on the verge of really doing that. You're so young, Aaron. You're so young.
I know. I've always wondered, like, this friend of mine, like, this kid was selling cars at 16. He couldn't get a dealer's license because he had to be 18. But the minute he turned 18, he went and got a dealer's license and he was flipping cars. He would like buy a little jalopy and fix up what was wrong with it and then sell it and make a profit. And that's what he was doing. I'm just like, man, like, give me some of that so I can spray my kids with it. That way they'll have motivation. But, you know, if I don't have motivation, I mean, where are the kids going to get it from?
No one.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's an amazing journey, Aaron, hearing where you've been, how you're getting there and where you're going. You have a dream, you have a goal in mind. I can say for a lot of youngsters, even a lot of the oldsters, goals and dreams are really nice to have sometimes. A lot of them don't have them. They're fine on just coasting by. Those that do have them, it can be challenging for them to reach for them and attain them. And then there's people like you where it's like, you know, what is the next thing to do?
Aaron's a no excuse kind of guy. If Aaron wants something, Aaron's going to go and get it.
Is that true, Aaron?
There's no reason to not be able to go to school, to work 60 hours. I'm going to tell you, my kid's not going to work. I have a 23-year-old. He's going to be 23. He's not going to work 60 hours.
Yeah.
There's just, it doesn't have it in him.
Mm-mm.
But did we work 60 hours? Did we work 2 jobs? Like, we totally did that. Yeah. But he's just like, eh. I mean, it was, Aaron, when it came for you to get your driver's license, did your parents have to push you, or you were like, I'm going to get my driver's license?
I got a ride. It was through my high school. So like I took everything through my high school, but I got a ride to the DMV. So but I wanted it.
You were motivated to do it. Your parents weren't in your ear, right?
I was ready to drive. Yes.
See?
Yeah.
It's so crazy because like both of mine, I'm like, I had to push them to do it.
Yeah. And it goes to my oldest kid's generation too, Sandy. So wherever your oldest is, and to my 15-year-old current today, like that generation, they like her and her peers, that's still a thing. Like none of them want to drive, have no desire to drive.
Really?
Yes.
And like us, we were country kids. So the minute, like we'd been driving since we were 8. So the minute we knew that we could go get our driver's license, ours was through the high school and everything. We paid our $55, and man, we did it 7 o'clock in the morning, and then we did all of our driving in the summer, and we got our driver's license. I mean, it was really by the grace of God, because my dad was like, how the hell did you get your license? I'm like, I don't know, Dad. Because my dad was trying to teach me how to parallel park and I hit everything. But anyway, yeah. No.
20 years later, he's still like, I still don't get how you.
Yeah, pretty much. License. I think he's still, how he wonders. I'm like, I'm all about renewing on time, because if they make me take that test, they'll just revoke my license.
Speaking of, I need to look at mine, because during the weird times, I think I had to renew my license. So,
I had to renew in person this year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I finally got one of the, I don't know how it is in Texas, but Aaron, I finally got one of the forms where I can do it digitally or remote or virtual, whatever, online. And then I lost the form, and I'm like, you've got to be.
So I think you can have, like, here it's like 8 to 10 years, and then like every so often you have to go in person to get a new picture. And I think my 8 years was up.
I think I had to get a new license when I turned 21, like you had a horizontal one. And it was the most painful process I think I've ever been a part of. Like if you go to the online website, it's terrible.
Yeah.
You get two
There's
pages
like
worth of
ads everywhere
that you have to take
Yeah,
in.
like
Birth certificate,
a government website.
passport. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
And then people walk in like it was just the good old days. Like they walked in without appointments, and they were like, "Do you have an appointment?" They're like, "No," and they're like, "Okay, we'll set up an appointment here, and then come back in 2 weeks." I'm like, "What is wrong with people? Like, how do you think you can just walk into here and not have an
The
appointment?"
rules don't apply to them. They'll stink. They'll throw a stink. Yes. And I agree with you, Aaron. Like, yeah, going to the DMV's website is like, is this a spam website? Like, is this there's links everywhere. It's like, did I type in the wrong word and go to one of those nudie sites? Because it is just everywhere. It's like, there's the voter registration, and some of it is relevant. Other of it, I'm like, what is this about the tolls? Like, I live in Bloomington. I don't have any tolls here.
We don't have tolls. No.
Yeah. All right. So, Aaron, when our guests are about to leave, because you've outshined both Sandy and I by so much already.
At 14, he outshined our asses. So there's
yeah. We like to give our guests the screen and deliver whatever message they have for the audience so that they can you can impart on them. So whether that's your favorite chocolate chip cookie recipe, whether that's where to find you at online, or just something you want to leave everyone off with, it's all up to you, and we are going to give you that time now.
Awesome. Yeah. So I know we kind of talked about a lot. If anyone wants to kind of talk economics or anything like that, my last name, Kull Realtor, on Instagram or Facebook, that's my handle. Feel free to reach out, and definitely, if you think I was right, think I was wrong, love to talk about it. But really, I think just filling your time gaps. The main message I like to give to people is, if you have downtime, pick up a hobby and just, go do something that is interested in you and, gives your time value, I guess. So that's my main message, I guess.
I think he was talking to us.
Yeah, no, I'm like, I feel a little, I feel like
get working. Okay, so you're Kull.
This is that.
I didn't even realize your last name was Kull. I thought it was Cole.
Cool, yes.
Of course it'd be cool. Literally, of course.
Joanne says you're cute, dude, and now blushing. Oh, I love it. You are a little cutie for sure. And you said Kull Realtor, is that what you said?
Yeah, so I think it's Kull Realtor, Kull, and then just Realtor, and then the Kull Realtor on Facebook. But Kull Realtor finds them both. So.
Okay, I'm over here on Instagram because I don't know why.
Maybe it's the Kull Realtor on Instagram.
Okay.
Oh, I see right here. Brilliant.
Yeah, the Kull Realtor on Instagram, and then Kull Realtor on Facebook.
The Kull Realtor.
You know how many cool realtors there are? But not an Aaron Kull. Cool. Awesome.
Are there really other cool?
Yeah.
There's a lot of, there's a Kelsey Kull, there's a Warren Kull.
There's a Tyler and an Audrey.
That's offensive. I had no idea. I was like, who else has that,
Real quick, so that NAR lawsuit was a 1.8 billion verdict against them. 1.8.
They said they're appealing it. It's being appealed.
Of course, they'd be silly not to appeal it.
That's a lot of money.
My emails.
You should always appeal every ruling if you are the losing side. So it says using a travel agent to buy a plane ticket or stockbroker to trade equity seems like relics of the past. And yet every day people across America hire a real estate agent to help them sell a home. It's one of the few industries that has been able to largely avoid the disruption that has helped consumers cut costs in the internet age. And that is largely because of the power of the National Association of Realtors, the largest professional organization in America and a significant lobbying group for the real estate industry.
We attempted to do our very first house to not use a realtor. I was for the birds, like having to schedule people and then the offensive offers. This guy was like, I'll give you 80. And I'm like, get the out of my house right now.
So it looks like these two brokerage firms, Home Services of America and Keller Williams Realty, they are the ones liable for this, for the damages, because they kept commissions artificially high.
Keller Williams did, and they're like one of the big ones.
I've never even heard of Home Services.
A lot of the big
America.
ones are targeted, and then I think I heard some paid a lot of money to get their name off of there, like off of that list. I'm not sure though.
Okay, so two other firms.
See, that's something I could talk about all day, you know?
Yeah. It says two other firms initially named in the suits brought by home sellers, Remax and Anywhere Real Estate, formerly known as Realogy, which is the parent company of Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Sotheby, International Realty, and Corcoran, never heard of them, settled out of court for a combined $140 million. So as part of their settlement, they each announced a commitment to make changes to their business practices. It's all quoted in the CNN.
Jamie, do we need to let Aaron go? You've already told
yes,
him
I'm so sorry. Yes.
You're like a Latino family. We've already said goodbye to him twice, and he's still here.
And we're still sticking around. So
it's a Midwest thing, I think, too. So,
well, listen, Aaron, it was been a blast. I am so happy that you came by and shared your story. I think you're an amazing individual. I think you're an amazing man. And
you're going to do so good in life, Aaron. I just know it. We wish you the best of luck in everything that you do.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, guys. It was great being on here. Love it.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
See you soon.
I'll see you later. Night. Okay. Take care.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
What a cute kid. Oh my gosh.
Man.
I mean, how embarrassing.
That's how I'm like, good for you, at least then. Good for you. I hope.
Like, well, what do my kids do? They don't bite anybody anymore. They sleep through the night, I guess.
Oh gosh, I should be happy that they're in bed at night.
I mean,
that's causing a ruckus. I guess that's
there's a bonus. I know. Yeah. Every now and then I see kids Cade's age shooting up places, and I'm like, you know what? Who cares that he has a messy room? At least he's home. He's not out acting a fool. Of course, I'd beat his ass if he was, but still.
Yeah. And you know what?
Oh, Anita said hello. We can start the show. Oh, good.
Oh,
good.
Perfect.
We just kicked our guest off because we're like, Anita's not here.
Yeah. And I think Miss Jams is watching us tonight. She says
Hi,
she watches.
Jams.
So I'm sorry, Miss Jams. I told you I'd give you a shout out, and we kind of just got started. And then I remember, so I was talking with her earlier, and she was like, Cal, I just watch y'all on the TV. She goes, I don't ever really log in. I just sit on the couch and watch. And it was funny because she was telling me how she'll sit on the couch or whatever, winding down at night, and she's just watching us, and she's talking to us.
Oh, she's love
talking
it.
To us, and her kids are like, Ma, what are you doing? And she's like, they're just watching the show. It's Cal and his friends. And, and she's like having conversation with us, but we can't hear. So I feel bad for that part, but I'm glad you're watching us and hanging out with us. I want to show off
while you're on here. I have two no mames real quick. Okay. Did y'all know that Netflix is hitting us with another price increase?
No mames. No mames, Netflix.
Didn't they just raise our rates the other day? God. And then, you know what I'm sick of? You know what I'm sick of? These people that sell products and then they advertise like fake results. Like they'll advertise this, lady que estaba un poquito, little gordita, and then all of a sudden, like she took these pills and she looks like a completely different person. Her tattoo's no longer there.
Or she puts on that weird thing and then
you can never see the face, never matches, or it's like cut on. They're never smiling the same, or their wrinkles.
Or you notice the screen do this weird, like, it does this weird thing. And you're like,
and you know who did it? You know who did it?
Oh, yeah.
Sofia Vergara. Sofia Vergara alters her pictures. Like, why?
Why?
You're smoking hot. Like, why? Oh, God.
So there's a part of me that I'm like, okay.
No mames, Sofia Vergara.
Yeah. And it's a machine, right? Like, it's the machine. She's part, not just her, but all of them. And I'm not excusing it. All I'm saying is that when you are in that line of business, you are giving your rights away or something, right? For them to manipulate and make you look different on TV and on photographs.
Well, here's the deal. She manages her own Instagram. She chops up her own photos.
There's no way. There is no way any.
Well, then what she needs to do is get rid of that person who does it, because they are horrible photoshoppers.
It's like someone who tells me this YouTube, they vlog about their daily life or something. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, they're so authentic and everything. I'm like, no, they're not. There's not a single YouTuber out there that is quote unquote authentic anymore. At least I'll have a hard time buying that, because I believe like all of them are their scripts. It's all production related. And there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. You do you, Blue, and you do what you need to do. But there's no realism out there.
There's not.
No,
there's not.
No. And so even Sofia not managing quote unquote managing her own Instagram, I believe there's something truth to that. But there's no way in any world that I believe she is 100% managing that only. No way.
Well, she needs to get a better Photoshopper. I'm going to tell you that much.
Well, I'm not arguing with you on that. I whether she does or doesn't, she still allows it. She still lets it happen. So that much, I will say yes. What was the other one? What was your other? You said you had two.
I said both of them, but I erased them already.
Oh, sorry. I got hung up on that one. I'm going to show off my comic books. Is that okay?
Okay. Joanne, go potty.
No, not the potties. All right. So do you remember homage covers? Do you remember homage covers, Sandy?
Yes, I still want to do it to where it did the confetti, though.
Okay. You do that. So I've shown a version of this off before, but I just want to bring it up because it's so funny. Okay, so this is cool because this is a Mexico one. So this is my favorite artist. His name is Todd McFarlane, and this is a very famous cover. In fact, it's one of the most reused images in comic books. And so you see this everywhere, and lots of people use it for their stuff. And I'll show you here in a second how. But anyhow, I love it because this is Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man. In the comic world, it was one of the most iconic Spider-Mans he created in story and did everything. And so I love that this is it's an anniversary issue, but you can also see right there.
Is it foil?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So this is this is a nice one. I think this runs.
I was going to say, it looks like it's in really good shape.
Yeah, it should be. If I sent this off to get graded, it'd probably get a 9.8. This is probably about, I think they said like it was a 200, 250.
What year?
19. Well, so this is the 25th anniversary.
John is sad.
Go away, John.
Sorry.
Oh, if you're sad, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I thought he was annoyed. So this is the 25th special anniversary edition, right? And so, but I don't remember when this came. Oh, so this would be 1990 or 89, I think.
You weren't listening, Jamie Pina.
You weren't listening. Who wasn't listening?
She said you weren't listening.
About what?
Okay. Saying he's not listening.
So anyway, all right. Here is another homage cover, and this one's Venom.
Is that another Todd McFarlane? Because it looks very similar.
A lot of these guys, sometimes I don't see it on here, but a lot of times they'll have a around the circle, they'll say after Todd.
Oh, really?
Yeah, saying, so it's just kind of the way they pay respect and homage to him. Oh. So people don't think that Todd drew it. This one doesn't have it, which is odd.
It looks very Todd-like.
Yes, yeah, and it could be. And then here's another one, and another one. So this is not a Marvel comic. This is a Dynamite comic, but their name is Nyx. And I don't even know who this is or whatever, but I saw this one night and I was like, oh,
What is it?
It's like a
Oh, that's the
demon.
devil.
Yeah. But I always, every time I see an homage cover to Todd McFarlane, I just a sucker and I just get it. I'm like, I don't even know who it is or what it is. But the fact that they did it in Todd's style, I'm like, I love it. I love it. And people get worn out by it and whatnot, but I'm like, I'm here all for it. I'm here all for it. I like it.
On a side note, you said something about Marvel, and I saw a tiny blurb on the headline where a stunt double for Marvel was killed in a car accident.
Oh my
Him and I
gosh.
think some of his kiddos. Not good. Very sad. Very,
That
very
is
sad.
sad. Okay, so let me show you these last two. All right. So this one, Supergirl issue 1, was a comic convention exclusive. And I got my hands on it. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I love the kryptonite chains that she's breaking apart. I love the serious look on her face right there. She's like, ha, you think that was going to get me? And of course, anything, you know, Superman, it's just always the shield is just the bomb. It's always goes awesome on any of the characters that it's on. But I love this.
Oh, Joanne says, when Sandy was talking about her two things, you have a one-track mind when it's about those darn comics. She said that's why you weren't listening. You were focused on
maybe
your
so.
comics.
Maybe so. That's probably it.
Anita says, I love your comic books, Mr. Pineapple.
Oh, thank you, Anita. I appreciate
Mr.
you.
CA.
Thank you, Sean. All right, so this is okay. So pay attention real quick, okay? This is a Supergirl issue, and I cannot remember what year this came out, but this is a nice cover. This is a good one.
Yeah.
All right, now check this bad boy out. This is a goodie. This is a good one.
Oh, it's an old school, and he's breaking the chains.
So it's a common theme in the Superman family comic books that they'll use that breaking chains as some sort of like milestone comic. So if you ever see a version of this on the comic, you usually get it because it's a good idea. So the artist that drew this, he just passed away this year. And he was a huge contributor to the industry. Huge. His name was Neil Adams. Great guy. And watching let me tell you guys, I pray and hope that when my time comes close, that I can handle it with as much
grace.
Yeah. Neil Adams was on Facebook. I won't say like all the time, but consistently. And when his time was up, when he knew his time was up, because it was one of those like pancreatic cancer or something, right?
Oh gosh.
Yeah. And so
he was just like the one that takes you so fast.
Yes. And so he was like, I'm spending my last days here, guys. And this was like back in January, November, December. And then it was so fast. But every time he was posting, he was like, I just want to be with family and friends. He goes, I know I don't have much time, but I just want to be with friends. And people were flooding him. I did it too, was flooding his inbox with how much I appreciate the contributions he did to the comic industry and all the art that was out there. So I know, like, this, to me, it's beautiful. It's iconic, but some people who would see this and not know who the artist is might think, oh, that's just an old school comic book cover, right? No appreciation. But you can see, and you know how you can just look at some art, even photographs you can look at sometimes, right? And you can be like, that's a so-and-so, whatever. Like, that's how this is. You can look at this and I can say, oh, that's a Neil Adams, man. And Neil Adams books are like awesome to come, they're to come by. And of course, when the artist passes away, books increase in value.
Yeah. So, for sure.
So that's a beautiful cover.
I love
that
it.
Is freaking gorgeous. I love it too.
Yeah,
I love it.
I
so
agree.
anyway,
It's a good one.
I wanted to share those.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for saving the best for last.
Yeah. So when we come back next week, we'll have to figure out. I'll be honest. There's some fun stories I wanted to share. Sandy has fun. We didn't get to do your.
I still have my entire packet. Eric was like, "You meant to throw this away?" And I'm
no,
like,
don't.
I never even did my homework, Eric.
Wait, what?
Well, that was I said I never got to read it because he was like, "You meant to throw this away?" I'm like,
So if y'all remember, we were supposed to have a special Sandy Talk Sheet episode last week, right? I had talked to Sandy. It was the day after Halloween. I thought it was going to be this awesome, excellent thing, and I was like, I don't normally ask Sandy to do this, so I was like, let's do it because I kind of think
it's Halloweeny.
Yes. And then and she went through all the effort to put something together for it.
What about the record? Yet. Any news?
It's still sitting over here.
I don't know. Did you talk to the old man today? I didn't talk to him.
I chatted with him a little bit. Yeah, because remember I was asking you about sit-stand desk and monitors and everything.
Yeah, but I didn't talk to him about like what he was doing today.
Oh yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I just assumed he was doing a show. And so anyway, Sandy has that we want to do. So we weren't able to get to it last week. Sorry, Sandy. I do want to get to it though. So we will. What is it? Anyway, there's other stuff I want to say, but guys, I just want to say thank you for coming on. I appreciate y'all watching. And Aaron, if you're still watching with us too, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I had a blast getting to know you more. And he's one of those servers at Chili's that I'm like, okay, I want to make sure to go sit in his section.
I don't think I ever had a server other than like knowing that Belana works at PF Chang's. I usually text her and I'm like, "Are you here?" And if she's not, I just get whoever.
Really? I can't do that anymore, Sandy. I look for those servers, and so when I go there, I'm like, let me have this person or that person, and then if they're not there, then it's like, okay, fine. Well, I need to eat, so go ahead and send me whatever. But I will request a specific servers. But they're good, and they do get a premium tip too. So I'm like, yeah.
Oh, premium.
Premium. That didn't sound right. Okay, so everyone, y'all have a great night. Thank you. All right.
Good night, everybody. Oh, look.
What?
Priscilla was in here. Hello, Priscilla.
What does
I think I did see your comment. I found several albums online, Jamie. Joanne's been looking for you.
Really? Send them to me on the
John's over here trying to start a fight. He's not sorry, Sandy.
I am too. Hush your mouth, John. All right, everyone. Y'all have a great night. Enjoy your week, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Y'all be good. Good night.